Welcome to News Laundry Chhota Hafta. For the full episode, subscribe because it is behind the paywall and only subscribers get access to uncut, complete content. News Laundry Hafta is our weekly wrap of all that made the news, all that didn't, and all that should have and all that shouldn't have. We agree, we disagree, we critique, and occasionally we beat each other up. But it's all good fun. Subscribe.
This is a News Laundry podcast and you're listening to NL Hafta.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज़ लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. Welcome to another hot week of Hafta. I'm Abhinandan Sekhri and I will just introduce the panel. Before that, I would just like to plug my usual plug. Kindly contribute and subscribe to News Laundry. We are an ad-free model because when the public pays, the public is served, and when advertisers pay, advertisers are served. So we need you to support us and make sure good journalism keeps going. And we've had some very good journalism this week on News Laundry with T.R. Vivek's piece. So I would urge you to also read that. You'll find the link below. And he is also joining us on our panel all the way from, where are you, Vivek, right now?
I'm in Bangalore.
You're in Bangalore. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, T.R. Vivek is a journalist based out of Bangalore. He's worked with the Economic Times, Open, Outlook. He was with the Swaraj magazine as the co-founder, right? When it was revived, you were on the co-founding team?
Yes, I was one of the co-founders, yes.
And till recently, you were an editor at Asianet News website, Newsable. And you have co-authored the book Cricket and Commerce, IPL and Inside Story, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so that is Vivek. Also on the panel today is Anand Vardhan. Hi, Anand.
Hello.
Ranga Uncle, who is busy not inventing stuff and cures to diseases like TB.
Hello.
And Manisha Pandey.
Hi.
Missing from the panel today are Madhu Trehan and Atul, executive editor, who's not well actually. We're waiting. He may have chikungunya.
Oh my God.
So blood report ka wait ho raha hai. So what all we're discussing today is Mr. Sridharan, the Metro man, not invited for the inauguration of Metro Rail, but then invited apparently because of the impact of one channel. We will tell you which. Then the Naga leader SS Khaplang died last week. We have a piece on News Laundry on that, and also our former colleague Arunabh Saikia's piece on Scroll. What does the death of Naga leader mean for the future of militancy in the Northeast? Then we will also discuss Vivek's report on Kaveri based on the burn. He did a 2-week trek down the river, upriver. Is that right, Vivek?
Yes. Week-long trek.
Week-long trek. And Amit Shah calls Mahatma Gandhi chatur. Baniya. Is that a compliment, as some are saying? Some are saying it's an insult. Ram Guha's piece, does Gandhi have a caste? And Tejas Harad's rebuttal to that on News Laundry. And then the Rajasthan court sentences RT activist Nikhil Day and 4 hours to jail in a 19-year-old case. I read about this. It's hysterically funny. Vijay Mallya's bail extended till December the 4th. So he's chilling for another few months. Narendra Modi will meet Donald Trump. I can't wait for that meeting. I want to see what that handshake will be like. And states keep the farm loan waivers going. We have a very interesting email associated with that today. And Mukul Rohatgi, the Attorney General, declines an extension of term. And Shivraj Singh Chauhan breaks his fast on day 2 with Nariyal Ka Pani, with about 15,000 sidekicks looking on. 3 films based on political issues have being denied screening at the Kerala Festival because I&B Ministry refused to give them a certificate that apparently they need. And the journalists got together at the press club last Friday, where I was live tweeting, and we can discuss that in a little more detail as well. But first, let's go with our panelist from Bangalore. Vivek, congratulations on your piece. It's fantastic.
Thank you very much. And I was really touched by the care and attention News Laundry gave it. I think if not for those wonderful illustrations, as I told you, this would have been another meandering fat beer long form.
No, it was very nice. Manisha really took care of that, and Anish really
This is our pleasure.
brought his creative instincts in, who's a fantastic illustrator.
Great fun thinking of the illustrations and everything.
Thank you, Team News Laundry.
Yes. Now, tell me, why did you want to do a long piece on this Kaveri issue? Do you think it has not been... I mean, we've seen 24-hour coverage whenever the lads of Bangalore decide to start behaving like the lads of Delhi and burning vehicles.
I've been planning to do a story on Kaveri for a fairly long time. In fact, I've been exploring a book idea on the Kaveri. To give you a slightly less glorious answer why I decided to do it now was that I was without a job and I had ample time. I packed my bags one fine morning because my wife and daughter happened to be in Bombay for summer vacations. So it was ideal for me to sort of, a nice time to gallivant around. When I was editing Newsable last, I was there till October last year, and the riots in Bangalore peaked at around September, when the Supreme Court orders came asking Karnataka to release water. I think a lot of Bangaloreans feel that they hadn't seen this kind of heightened violence since the 90s. And I happen to live in a fairly Tamil-dominated area in Bangalore.
What happened in the 90s? Sorry, just why in the 90s? Why was there violence back then?
I think 90s was when Jayalalitha took a fairly intransigent stance, and there were several again successive failed monsoons. So the situation was pretty dire
I
then.
see.
And,
Okay.
And which is when this thing of chauvinism and sub-nationalism, it kind of sort of peaked at that point, and then petered out over the years. And it was the first time after a very long time that it reared its ugly head in Bangalore. And you had this pathetic sight of local media channels fanning the flames of chauvinism and sort of linguistic nationalism. And as I mentioned in the story about a fleet operator, sort of the entire 40-bus fleet was burned down. There were reports of thugs roaming the streets who would make Tamils read pamphlets written in Kannada, and if they couldn't, they would be marked out for, rough treatment. So these are the several sort of scary stories one did encounter, and obviously a lot of it was in the realm of rumors as well. So this was my first-hand encounter with the violence associated with Kaveri. So it's been sort of gnawing at my head for a long time. So I thought maybe it's a good time to capture all of it.
Vivek, in your view, Amit Shah is referring to Bapu Gandhi as a chatur Baniya tha. A particular, I forget his name, on Swaraj, he's defended Amit Shah, saying that he was actually complimenting Gandhi. I don't think even Amit Shah would want that defense. He would say, "Aisa to mat kar." Do you think he was?
ये मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा राई का पहाड़ बन गया है इसमें. I'm sure you'll come to Mr. Harad's rebuttal to Ram Guha. And last night Manisha and I were having a long WhatsApp exchange. I think this is the scourge of political correctness. Are we too tight-assed about talking about caste? I don't know, इसमें इतनी बड़ी बात थी क्या कि सब लोग इतना बवाल मच गया इसमें.
I guess because Bapu is one of those gods of the country. But
I don't think it has anything to do with Bapu.
Sorry, I would say this is the scourge of political correctness. अच्छा, मैं आपको एक चीज बताता हूँ. हम कास्ट में जब, for instance, Ravindra Jadeja, he does his sword celebration after he scores a 50 or 100. Which is again sort of, he is displaying sort of his Thakur or whatever ancestry. And performing a martial dance.
Sorry, what does he do? I'm not familiar with this.
Sword
Swinging of sword. Once he scores 50, that's a Rajputana
when he takes a 5-wicket fall, when he scores a 50 or whatever, it's an act of celebration. Sort of, he does this sort of mock, sort of Gujarati Rajput from sword
with his
dance.
bat. What does he do it with? With his bat. Okay.
And if you remember Vishal Sikka's comment, when this whole Narayan Murthy thing was happening, said that, I will channel my sort of inner Kshatriya.
Right, right.
Should we get offended by all of this? Caste, as you mentioned in a previous segment, is a reality. Should we be less tight-assed about it?
I have a view on it, but first, Anand, please.
Yeah, no, I have a couple of views on this. One is that I have nothing against people being, not politically correct. Gali do, galauj do, jo bhi karo, this thing fine. But when it comes to caste, when it comes to injustices, tremendous, terrible injustices that India has I don't know, I mean, they have blossomed in India over the last 2000 years. You can't just put it away on the thing of that, wo to aise uski bhasha aisi hai to wo aise hi bolta hai. And I'll give you a couple of examples where I got into a fight with one person who was a homosexual, that I said he was, so this word called queer has been appropriated. So now it's even homosexuals use this, I'm queer. The etymology is queer means strange, right? So when people were addressing homosexuals as queer, it was really derogatory. It's the same with the N-word. Now, Quentin Tarantino and a lot of black people have actually appropriated the N-word. And, the idea is that you use it so much that it loses its derogatory, abusive appeal.
Sure.
But I don't like it because at some level, it negates the atrocities that were committed by people who are using it without...
So that was a symbol of atrocity.
Yes,
exactly.
And when you say Baniya, it's a caste. And in fact, Gandhi himself called himself a Baniya.
Chatur Baniya.
I'm not Chatur Baniya. I said I'm a greedy Baniya or something like that. So, and later on I got to know that Amit Shah, of course, has a very crude kind of style, in my opinion, of speaking.
Does he? He's very, I don't think so. He is not the sort of, he's generally very polite. He uses the aap, hum, tum kind of in this how he said wo tha, Chatur Baniya tha.
So it's like very, a colloquial, I don't know, maybe, Gujarati or whatever. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he himself is a Baniya.
He is,
from the community. So I don't mind if people use community or gender in describing people, like he or she or business community, scientific community, media community. But when it comes to association and you trying to blur the line between caste and community, I think that's very problematic. Now, point number 2, which I want to tie in this, if you permit me, is that there was a wonderful, at the face of it, wonderful hashtag someone started, walk to temple. Okay, hashtag, it went viral over the past week. In fact, Swarajya wrote a very nice piece on it, that this hashtag walk to temple, and people would be walking to temple as glorious. I mean, the architecture, as we know, just walking, take a photograph of the temple who you walk to or something like that. Now, on the face of it, it is astonishing. I mean, it tells you India was so beautiful, architecturally, almost pitch perfect. But then one must not forget that for 2000 years,
it was on the back of discrimination that these companies
horrendous discrimination, where majority of the population was barred from entering these very temples. Don't forget that.
I see. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So you can appropriate a word. I mean, like, in fact, I can't remember, was it Meena Kandaswamy who said you go back to your cave or something, and I said stop using the word queer, and I had to dig out some scientific papers saying that, look, do not appropriate these words.
Okay, I just want to quickly get into the loan waivers, and Vivek, if you could talk about this, and Mr. Vardhan and Ranga uncle. The farm loan waiver, I'm talking about the moral dilemma, what they call the
hazard,
moral hazard in economic terms of ADAG loan of 75,000 crore versus a 30,000 crore waiver. Yes, we've heard the bad economics, good politics line, which I disagree with. But I don't have a position on this, by the way. I'd just like to know, our panel, do you have a position on this? Is it inevitable? Is it good? Is it bad? Is there any other way? Or can you just allow such a large chunk of a population to be broken by debt? Vivek, why don't you go first?
See, there is a moral hazard, whether it is for a corporate or for the farming sector as a whole. I think we are barking up the wrong tree also here in terms of this whole farm sector crisis. There are other ways of addressing this. There are obviously plenty of structural issues here. The farm sector is pretty much broken. In my travels to Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, I found that farming is actually, you must be really crazy to be a farmer. I don't know how they make their ends meet. जहाँ पे यार 1 acre, 1.5 acres की जो holding है लोगों की, उसमें से hardly your annual income is going to be about 35,000. It is that bad. I think there needs to be some fundamental addressing of this issue rather than just waiving off farm loans.
I think farm loan
just a band-aid solution.
But until then, is this inevitable, Vivek?
Sorry?
Until there's a fundamental change in how we approach the rural economy, is this inevitable?
Yes.
It is inevitable. Manisha, you were saying
it is inevitable because politicians are lazy, and I don't think a lot of the protests are not really about farm labor, about loan waivers. It is about making agriculture sustainable for them. And that is what the government really has to address. What Vivek is talking about. How does it become a viable option for someone? And that is really what farmers are protesting about also.
Right. Mr. Vardhan, also, I didn't read that bit. The first email that I read, he had said that you're talking of the deification of the farmer. We discussed this last time on farm. And why it was not entirely accurate. There's inevitability to the farmers being the bottom of the pile. But yeah, do you think it's inevitable? I mean, it has to, whether you call it's an economic moral hazard, karlo, it is a problem, but there's no other way until we, or do you think there is another way in the short term also?
Even the waivers would not address large number of farmers, because large number of farmers are still not integrated with the banking system. So what kind of farmer takes loans? Who at least has access to the banking system? So, and banks also give loans to a certain kind of farmers. So
that's very true, actually. Come to think of it, most of them must be just local money lenders, right? So they don't benefit from this waiver.
And see, the shift from agrarian sector to the service sector. So what we have bypassed is the manufacturing one. So that gap means there is too much burden on too less land. So a lot of people, despite agriculture's diminishing contribution to GDP, it's there are the dependence of population on agriculture has not reduced
diminished the same. That was again the same point that mail made, which I didn't read
significantly. So and maybe because we have bypassed that manufacturing phase. So and that is one. Second is that if the policy makers are reading too much into farm suicides, I am a bit skeptic about farm suicides. So all farm suicides are because of the problems related to agriculture. I don't buy that theory. I think that has been thrashed enough. I think Mihir thrashed Sainath's theory about it. And even we may be perennial skeptics of police records, but police investigations also point out that a lot of farm suicides are not related to agricultural distress. So if policymakers are buying too much of agony of farm suicides to make this farm waiver what we call dole economy, so that also must be maybe a misreading of it is.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Vivek, for joining us all the way from Bangalore. Do read Vivek's piece and do contribute, because it takes him a week, 10 days just to travel to do a piece like that, then writing it, putting it together. So, and you have to have a certain capacity, experience and understanding of the subject to write a piece. So journalism is not cheap, and we'd like to pay journalists well. So I urge you to please subscribe and contribute so that we can continue to do some good work. And on that note, thank you all so much. Pay to keep news free. When the public pays, the public is served. When advertise served. Until next hafta, bye-bye.
Sun liya Afrika, mufat khoro. Not to brag or anything, but News Laundry Hafta features in the top 50 in the world on SoundCloud in the news and politics category for podcasts. So do subscribe and see what you're missing, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Subscribe, help keep news independent and free. All News Laundry podcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher and any other podcast platform.